YouTube, welcome back to our series of videos designed for parents, carers, teachers, youth professionals, anyone who works with young people in any capacity to learn more about their mental health and how they can support them. If this is your first time here, my name is Denise and I'm the founder of 4YoungMinds. We deliver interactive wellbeing workshops in schools and other youth settings to empower young people to take control of their own wellbeing. Alongside that, we work with professionals and parents and carers like yourselves to be able to support young people from all round. Our upcoming webinar for our Adults for Young Minds community this month will be supporting young people with change. As we all know, change is something that is inevitable in everyone's life. The more resilient we can make young people, the better equipped they will be to deal with those changes as they come. We're focusing on change at the moment because August, September can be a really big transition time for a lot of young people. Things like moving from primary to secondary school into sixth form or college onto university into the working world. There's lots of changes happening at the moment. Aside from academics, we know that change is something that starts happening from young people, even in their personal lives from a very young age. So on to some practical tips for how you can support young people when they're dealing with change. First up, identify their worries. When it comes to change, a lot of the time it's the fear of the unknown. Start by mapping out what that change is going to look like for them and what kind of things make them worry about this change. If we're talking about school transitions, for example, is it things like being scared that the classes might be too difficult or worrying about making new friends? Once they know what those worries are, it's easier to then put action plans in place to mitigate some of those fears. If they are worried about making friends in school, this could be a really great time to reinforce some of those friendships they have outside of school. Next, on the flip side of that, help them to recognize the opportunities that could come with this change. Sticking with that example of moving to a new school, this is a great opportunity for a young person to develop independence. They might start traveling by themselves. It's a chance for them to explore new subjects they've maybe never learned before. Secondary school has a much wider curriculum than primary school. If they're moving on to college or university, they would have chosen the subjects that they're off to study, which means they'll have a genuine interest in it. The bigger the change, this often means more independence, the chance to develop crucial life skills, making friends for life in places like university and college, but most importantly, an opportunity to learn more about yourself and grow. Yes, change can be scary, but there's often some great benefits that come with it. Next, keep some constants wherever possible. Now, of course, if we're talking about moving to different cities or countries, this is not always going to be easy. But keeping whatever similarities you can is always going to be very helpful and comforting. One thing that young people can always keep constant is their own personal goals. This is why I say goal setting is so important, because it acts like your own personal compass. When everything else around you feels a bit chaotic, that can be the one constant that you're able to focus on. Next up, practice getting comfortable with change. The best way to do this, and if this is not your first video or workshop with us, you'll know exactly what I'm going to say. Get out of your comfort zone. Helping young people to understand that staying within their comfort zone, while it might feel really great and comfortable at that time, it makes any kind of change really difficult. When you step out of your comfort zone, yes, it might make you a bit more anxious, but it also shows you what you're capable of. Getting out of your comfort zone is also a great way to overcome some of those limiting beliefs that young people might be holding about themselves. For example, they might say, I'm not smart enough or I'm not creative enough to do that. But then they actually go ahead and do something that requires them to use skills they're maybe not that used to using. And then when they do great at it, all it does is boost their confidence and show them that they really can if they put their minds to it. Finally, resilience and looking after your well-being is always really key during times of change. It's even more important to take time for yourself, talk to other people, but most importantly, seek that help if you really are starting to struggle. During these times, it's even more important for young people to take care of themselves, to talk to other people, but most importantly, to ask for help if they really are struggling. When dealing with changes, that's a great time for them to find out what helps them to feel relaxed and at ease. Things like self-care activities like art or being outdoors. Any other kind of useful coping mechanisms that they can draw upon to help them to feel more grounded. The great thing is there's also loads of additional services out there for young people to be able to talk to someone if they don't feel comfortable talking to the people around them. A fantastic worksheet that young people can even use for themselves if they don't want to talk to people yet is the Samaritan's Change Plan, which I will link below and I'll pop on the screen for you to just have a look at. Using this action plan, young people are asked to describe what the change is, as well as some of the thoughts they're having around them, whether positive or negative. There's also a chance to explore the worries they're having around this change, as explained in point 1 of our video here, but also a chance to think about how can those negative thoughts be made positive, and the worries that they are having, what can they do to overcome them. It's really important when dealing with change to think about what is in your control. When you're feeling anxious, it's really tempting to want to control absolutely everything, but we know that that's not possible and all that does is add to the anxiety. So what can be controlled? And are there any positives that you can identify around this change? Just like we said at the beginning, thinking about the opportunities. Who can you ask for advice and support? And also, what kind of self-care activities can I do for myself to make this change easier? So this is a great way for young people to actively reflect on the change before it happens, and also to work through some of the things that they are scared about. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, or maybe you've got some questions about helping a young person that you know to deal with change, then come along to our free webinar happening on the 29th of August at 6 p.m. Even if you're not able to join us live, you can send in your questions and I will answer them during the webinar. All of our sessions, including our previous ones, can be found on our Adults for Young Minds Facebook group, so even if you can't join us live, you can always catch up in your own time. I've included the link to register for the webinar below, and also how to sign up for our Adults for Young Minds Facebook group to access this recording and any of our old ones. Thank you for watching, hope to see you there.